Hi there, good afternoon. You're watching the Mutual Fund Corner. This is a show where we answer all your mutual fund related queries. I'm Bangla Malu. With me is Sonia Shenoy. Good afternoon, Sonia. You know, at a time when the market is going through so much uncertainty, perhaps mutual fund investments would be the best because it would help you navigate through all these volatile periods.
We hope so, right? I mean, that's the only thing you can say at this point. But money saved is money earned, I guess.
Absolutely.
So waiting and watching in this market. But without wasting any time, let's get straight to our guest today. We have Saket Soni of Boulevard Finserv to answer all of your mutual fund queries. Saket, thanks so much for joining us on the show. We have a first query that is coming in from Rajendra G, who writes to us all the way from Hyderabad. He wants recommendations on funds to invest in on a long-term basis. His goal is to accumulate 2 crores in the next 12 years. You know, this is the most common question that we get, especially by people of his age. But you tell us, what's your advice?
So, obviously he's been, wanting to also look at his son's education. That's what I've got. And look at his retirement.
Yes.
The numbers look a little large. If you really look at the numbers which he's aiming at is a retirement kitty of upwards of 2 crores in 12 years, that is. Now, the whole thing is that if you really look at going on to save regularly, you can achieve those goals. One should look at equity because, this is long term. And you should look at an equity fund portfolio wherein you can look at investing roughly in the range of around 60 to 65,000 per month on the SIP, and you can probably achieve these numbers.
Any particular funds that you would advise?
So, we definitely look at advising a good mix of balanced portfolio, wherein we look at large cap equities, wherein it could be, let's say, HDFC Growth Fund. It could be Birla Sun Life Frontline Equity. It could be, some of the multi-caps, which is HDFC Equity Fund. So those are the funds they should look at, and they can definitely achieve the goal.
Absolutely. I was just doing some back of the envelope calculations, and 2,000 rupees per month is what he's investing right now for his son's education.
That's Manglam. That is, a little too small a figure to really look at a long shot of 2 crores.
Because 2 crore, I mean, even if you, take the best case scenario over 240 months, which is 12 years, you would do no more than, I think, 15, 16 lakh or at best 20 lakh.
Correct. So that's a very small amount. So obviously you need to really put pen to paper and get to know as to what is the exact amount that you will get. I think the 60 to 65,000 per month SIP is the right number.
All right. So that's the recommendation coming in for our viewer, Rajendra. The next one is a call coming in. Mr. Praveen Rajpal calls us from Mumbai. You want to invest 15 lakh rupees, Praveen?
That's correct.
Tell us a little more.
Pardon me?
Tell us a little more. What's your goal?
Yeah, so, no, the goal was that I'm reaching the age of 55 now, and at 60 I want to put this in the senior citizen savings scheme. So I've got this money to invest for next 5 years. Either I put it in some company FDs like Mahindra or Bajaj Finance or something, or some corporate bonds. So I need your recommendation on that, which is a better option, and one of those companies.
Do you want to put the 15 lakh right away, or is there any target that you're looking at in terms of amount to invest when you're 60? Is there any return expectation that you have?
No, this is the amount I have with me, which I want to put it. And so after 5 years, I put it in the senior citizen scheme to get a monthly...
Yeah, exactly. So do you have any expectation on the amount you want to put in the senior citizen scheme?
Maximum I can put in is 15 only, no?
No. Okay, fine. No, we'll get his query answered. So, Saket, he's got 15 lakh rupees right now.
Right, yeah.
How much would he be able to put after 5 years basis the returns? And should he put it in lump sum or maybe...
I guess his question is more so in terms of choosing the right asset quality, as in where do they really look at investing. Now, if, given his age, he's 55, he's looking at investing, in a senior citizens product, which is at 60, which is the right thing to do. But if you really look at the pathway from here till 60, he's got 5 more years. And I think those 5 more years are long-term enough, if I have to use that word. And he can use a good mix of, let's say, a corporate bond portfolio. Plus, he should also look at, with slight more risk, if you look at it, look at the balanced advantage fund or the dynamic asset allocation. Here, what happens is the fund manager really looks at allocating between debt and equity Because a managed portfolio, the fund manager is far more informed than the investor. So it is better to have either a balanced advantage fund or a dynamic asset allocation fund also along with the corporate bond fund.
Okay. So any names you want to give him? I mean, if he is interested to put into some of these funds?
So right, there is like Birla has a corporate advantage, corporate bond fund. Also, I would recommend he looks at ICICI Balanced Advantage Fund. That is a fund he should have in his portfolio because it is a mix of debt and equity. Slightly more riskier if you really look at it, but 5 years is long term enough.
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, we hope he got that. Next up, we have Saket Soni, who calls in all the way from Andhra Pradesh. He's been investing in mutual fund schemes since the last 1 year and 2 months. His goal is to accumulate 40 lakhs in 11 years and 4 crores in the next 23 years. All right, Saket, is my voice reaching you?
Yes, madam. I have been investing since November 2018.
Okay.
So I have seen all the good cycles. Access Growth Opportunity Fund, 4,000 rupees. SBI Small Cap Fund, 4,000 rupees. Then Mera Asset Mid Cap Fund, 4,000 rupees. Kotak Standard Multicap, 4,000. And Paraswari Multicap, 4,000 rupees. Since November 2018. Main problem is, madam, Kotak Standard Multicap का AUM बहुत ज़्यादा हो गया. तो अगर मैं कोई नया मल्टीकैप फंड में इन्वेस्ट करता हूँ तो सेम स्टॉक ओवरलैप आता है.
ओके.
और फिर जीरो से चालू करना पड़ता है. कंपाउंडिंग का इफेक्ट कम हो जाता है. तो इसका क्या सोल्यूशन है? क्योंकि कोटक स्टैंडर्ड ऑलरेडी है स्टॉक 31,000 करोड़.
ओके ओके.
तो रिटर्न इसके अगर कम हो जाएंगे तो इसका मेरा एक प्रॉब्लम था. और फ्यूचर में मैं अगर 10 to 15% बढ़ाऊंगा अपना SIP डिपेंडिंग अपॉन सैलरी इंक्रीमेंट, तो कैन आई अचीव 4 crore till 2043?
Okay. Sure. We got that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he has too many funds, right? I mean, do you think he needs to consolidate these funds, maximum stay with 3 or 4?
I think he has, 2 or 3 funds, but more if you really look at the number. But my suggestion is also he has to look at the asset quality.
He has total number 11 funds. I mean, I don't think even he can keep track of, how many funds he has. So ideally, how many funds should someone have?
I think a good portfolio of equity funds between 5 to 6 funds should suffice, because what happens is you should not really over-diversify your money over funds, because then you only diversify across brands and not the real asset holding. Now, with Sanka's case, what I have seen is that he's looking at a largish retirement kitty. Also, he's looking at his son's education again. Now, with this piece, I would recommend that, he's been saving roughly around 20,000 rupees for his regular SIPs. I think 16,000 rupees is good enough for the 40 lakh target which he is looking at, because that will kind of give him I think he has 12 to 15 years to save for his son's education. So that will reach, the goal should reach with the 16,000 rupees. But for his retirement kitty, which is a largest chunk and 3-4 crores is what he's aiming at, he should double his SIP. So the remaining 4,000 plus another 20,000 rupees is what he should look at. So I would, say, the more you save in a good quality equity portfolio. Also, like I was saying,
if he has to knock off some funds, which one would you recommend he knocks off?
So he has too many multi-caps, which I think is a good strategy to have. However, small caps is something which he should avoid. And if he can choose those, large cap funds, he should use his reallocation into large cap.
Sankha, you heard our expert. Perhaps you'll have to, increase your retirement kitty by double the amount plus the 4,000 that you'll be saving over the son's education. You have any further queries?
Okay.
Do you have any further queries, Sankha?
One query is that Kotak Standard Multicap का AUM बहुत बड़ा हो गया है सर, 31,000 crores हो गया है. तो फिर अगला मल्टीकैप अगर मैं लेता हूँ तब सेम टाइप स्टॉक्स में ओवरलैप रहता है बहुत सारे मल्टीकैप में. तो फिर मेरे ओवरऑल पोर्टफोलियो का रिटर्न कम हो जाती है सर. और फिर जीरो से मुझे चालू करना पड़ता है किसी भी मल्टीकैप फंड में. तो फिर मैं क्या करूँगा? इसलिए मैं थोड़ा परेशान हूँ. कोटक स्टैंडर्ड मल्टीकैप का 31,000 crores हो चुका है.
In fact, our expert just suggested the same thing to you, that you reduce some of your multi-cap funds, especially in the small cap space. But if you could answer
also, like Sankha is saying that the underlying diversification doesn't come even if you have many brands.
That's right.
So my recommendation is that you either get into a large cap, because whatever be the size of a large cap, it is good enough for the equity markets, because the type of depth you get in large cap equity is very, very large.
Okay.
So that is something which he can move into. Also, there is this concept that the fund is a little large or whatever.
Yeah.
That doesn't really play
doesn't
in
matter,
mutual fund.
right,
Yeah,
much,
in
yeah.
the mutual fund industry, it doesn't play like that.
Yeah.
So it's a misnomer that people understand it that way.
Yeah.
I would recommend that whatever be the size of the equity
AUM,
fund, especially, it doesn't really matter.
Okay, fair enough. So we've spent some good amount of time on this query. So we'll do one thing. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll continue to focus on all of your mutual fund queries. So don't go anywhere.
BSE Star MF, Smart IFA के लिए Smart Platform, India's largest online mutual fund distribution platform.
Hi guys, welcome back. You're still tuned in to the Mutual Fund Corner on CNBC TV18, and we are decoding all of your mutual fund queries. We have Pradeep Nair, who writes to us all the way from Tamil Nadu. He has investments in multiple funds and wants to assess his portfolio. Saket, over to you. This gentleman as well has a long list of funds. 11 funds is what he holds, and he has an SIP amount of 2,500 rupees each. What would your advice be to him?
So, I have only one thing to say. One, that it is a good habit that he's been saving regularly. He may have a long list of funds. I think maybe he can prune down some of the small cap and get into the large caps. So that is one advice. The other advice which I can, really give him is that stick to your behavior, which is saving regularly and saving for a long period of time. Because if he does that, he can definitely achieve the goals. And like I told you, some of the large cap equity funds which he can have in his portfolio is HDFC equity fund. He can look at, let's say, Birla Frontline equity fund. So that is something which will help him get a better balance in the portfolio.
Just looking at his portfolio, there are a couple of these mid-cap funds, which is L&T mid-cap, HDFC mid-cap, then a handful of small cap funds, SBI small cap, Nippon small cap, then a couple of blue chip funds and a couple of multi-cap funds. Is there place for consolidation in his portfolio? Like Sonia said, 11 funds.
So you really look at the entire portfolio and the multi-cap space which he has. He's probably looking at over diversifying in multi-caps. I think there is no need to do that piece. He can really look at having one or two multi-caps, or probably have some of the large multi-caps. That's it.
So between Motilal, Kotak and the other multi-cap that he has?
I think Kotak multi-cap has been doing very well, and I think that is the fund which he can probably just stay and consolidate into.
Okay, well, next up we have Mamta Pai, who writes into us all the way from Canada. She wants to invest a lump sum amount in mutual funds, and she wants recommendations on the same. Her main goal is to save for her retirement, but she's pretty young. I mean, she's 32 years old, and she says that she used to invest in mutual funds when she was in India, but now she's told that she can only invest with some fund houses. So just like demystify this for her and tell her what she should be doing.
So the story is that with FATCA there's a lot of reporting and a lot of compliance that goes through. Because of this, some of the fund houses, as a business decision, have said that they may not be able to offer it to residents of US and Canada, or NRIs of US and Canada. And that's precisely the reason she's saying that I cannot invest in all the funds. Maybe she needs to look at those 7 funds or 8 funds which offer the products. There is a list which is readily available. Maybe, if you want, I can speak out that list, which is basically some of the funds from, just give me a second.
Right.
Okay, take your time.
The funds would come.
These are the, they'll be
on air anyway.
Yeah, so these are Aditya Birla Sun Life, HDFC, ICICI, Kotak, Parag Parikh, Sundaram and UTI. So these are available for,
investing.
NRIs of US and Canada, and she can, because she is young, she can use a large cap fund from some of these fund houses and look at creating a portfolio over the long term. Obviously, she has to also let the present wherever she has invested presently, she has to let those fund houses know that she is now a resident of Canada and moved out, so that they can also adequately understand her status.
All right, fair point, and this would help a lot of people who are moving to Canada as well. In the last couple of years, there have been a record number of Indians moving to that country. Meanwhile, we have another query coming in, this one from Twitter, RK, that's all we know, Archelios is his handle, @Archelios. He writes to us, he wants recommendations on good SIPs to invest in, wants to invest 1,000 rupees per month. That's all the sort of data that we have on him, his age. We don't know his risk appetite, nor do we know his investment horizon. 1,000 rupees per month. Correct. Which one would you recommend?
So, just to put things in perspective, I would want to say that equity one is a great place to invest.
Okay.
A great place to invest if you are looking at the longer term and regularly saving, because you get the benefit of rupee cost averaging. Also, there is a thumb rule in investing saying that whatever is your age minus 100 is the percentage of equity investments that you should have in your portfolio. Right. So, he can probably calculate his age and decide the amount of equity he needs to have in his portfolio. He can choose, some very good quality large cap equity funds. I recommend Aditya Birla Sun Life Frontline Equity Fund, the Aditya Birla Sun Life Balanced Advantage, the SBI Blue Chip HDFC Equity Fund, DSP focused fund. So there is a long list of funds which he can choose from, which are large cap, very good performing funds. However, my recommendation is the more you save, the better it will be for you. So maybe you should move up from that 1,000 rupees which you are saving on a regular basis.
Okay, so these funds that you're recommending, what is your view now as to should one be putting money, because your market is in a downturn right now because of this whole coronavirus issue. Should one be staying away from mid caps and small caps for a bit and just pumping money into large caps because of how challenging the environment is?
So, obviously there are lots of challenges. Coronavirus is an issue where the business is really, going to go into a slowdown. Some of the economies, especially in the Southeast Asian countries, will not do well. But the whole idea is that this is the opportunity for the long-term investor. Because the long-term investor is anyway buying for the next 5 years.
But you don't want to get stuck in a mid-cap company which may see, 40-50% fall if this carnage continues,
with mutual fund portfolios, the diversification in the mid-cap companies is roughly around 50 to 70 number. So you can definitely look at investing, because shying away from mid-cap can, make you lose an opportunity also.
All right, thanks a lot for that, Saket, for joining us and telling all our viewers what they should do with their investments in the mutual fund space. With that, we hand it over to the team of Closing Bell. Take us through the last hour, crucial last hour of this expiry trade, as the markets are yet again lower as we speak.